Hey guys, coldbrew here. Welcome back to another video. The first competition in the Faction Games 2023 is over, and if you didn't catch the full video, check out Dead with Jedi channel. I'll leave you there before I spoil it for you on who won the first challenge, which was the Dragon tournament. We had to fight me against two other content creators. We had to fight in the Dragon, and whoever built the best only epic team with a specific faction that was set beforehand, then they would win 5 points for the team. So how the factions were chosen, just to spoil also, that was in a draft where the first team chose a specific faction, then the other teams chose another faction, then the other team chose another faction, and so on, until all teams had 3 factions each, and they couldn't have the same faction. And with that, we had to use only epic champions we had available from that faction to beat specific areas of the game, and each content creator had to decide 2 areas to compete in. For myself, I managed to pick up the Dark Elves for my team, and the Dark Elves I will be using, well, I used in the Dragon and also the Arena, which the Arena I'll be covering probably in a week from now. It's gonna be happening at the end of everything, but the Dragon has been completed. So with that being said, go watch the full video on That Was Jedi if you haven't, or if you want to see the results there at your own pace, or just keep on watching here. Right, okay. Not gonna say anything, but my team won. I think it was really all about Dark Kill in terms of how useful this champion is for beating the Dragon. I think it's one of those power picks in the sense of epics that will destroy the specific area of the game, in the same way that in Demon Spawns they have a lore. So we expect the team that chose Demon Spawn to be fighting the Fire Knight 25, and will utilize a lore to keep that Fire Knight Terminator down. That is the power pick of this faction. It feels like this faction will be taking the gold. Dark Elves took the gold for Dragon. I think for Spider, some kind of team with HP burns will be taking the win as well. I'm not sure of the other factions that were picked. I think Ogryn Tribes is probably going to be taking it with Skrank in there with the HP burns, a very strong champion. So probably Ogryn will be beating Spider. And with Ice Golem, it's all going to be... It might also be Sacred Order, but we'll have to see on what the other players choose in terms of beating. But my own team won this one, and let me show you guys my team. Let's go into the fight, and I'll keep this, instead of the 60 frames, I'll put it on unlimited frames just to see on how fast this team can be in terms of being a full epic team. So this is like a normal run that you would do. This was my team utilizing Spider for the defense down here and weaken, 60% chance and 15% weaken, but this is not a 100% chance to be placed. So this is 70% chance to place the weaken. Still very strong. My Luria was 6-star awakening with her A2, even though it has a low multiplier. That 6-star awakening proved to be a very strong incentive for me to be using her, since she would be slapping those waves. Then we also have Durandal, who has a very strong A2, which also ignores defense. So it's almost like another Savage set on top, with also Terminator feel on critical hits. So 5 members hit, it means 50% Terminator. That is quite good. And we also have Dark Kill, of course, for his poisons and the poison activation. And then an increased attack champion, which is Spirit Host at level 30, because we wanted to limit our power of our team to under 300. That was another limit that we were set by in terms of rules. So let's go in there, see the team, and at the end I'll show you guys my my gear and everything. So look at Luria, by the way. Did you see that burst? So 6 seconds to beat wave 1. That is tremendous. And here it becomes a little bit of an issue because, okay, we have the defense down, so that will be nice in terms of damage. We get hit here. As long as not all of my allies would die, I would be at a very good point. So as you can see here, I'm doing very solid amounts of damage. Defense down, weaken there helps a lot with the damage, and this will be dropping probably around the 40-second mark. Let's see, yeah, 40-second mark, we reach the boss, and then here it's all about poisons. We see Durandal, he does a lot of damage on the boss, does like 250k. I think he can reach 300k with his single target skill, not with the AoE. He does a very good amount of damage. Basically here, the run could be faster if everybody else dies and only Kill stays alive. So here, now that Kill has stayed alive, look at how quickly he'll be doing the poisons and taking down the boss. So if you compared it to before when everybody else was alive, Kill really slaps it and makes like a minute team in terms of farming. So it's quite crazy, the damage potential here. So here, the run went a little bit different, no weaken on the one target. So this one was a little bit slower, but you will see that I'll be rotating through still with 17 seconds into run number 2. And here I apply defense down weaken. There's AoE number 1. And once Luria gets her next turn, she'll be doing her big AoE. So that will immediately bring us at 28 seconds to the boss, which is quite good. But there's a lot of animations happening from all my allies, which slows it down basically. So if I wanted to make an even faster run, everybody should be dying ideally, and build a team in terms of having everybody die on purpose. So here we're already at 48 seconds. I don't know if this will be faster. Let's see. Okay. Some of my members are dying. That's good. I'm waiting for the boss to get a turn. Maybe we can do it. Yes, 1 minute exactly to farm it. And you see on how strong this team can be with Luria doing so much damage. It's quite insane. I think even if I didn't have Luria at 6 stars, I would probably still use her and do a lot of damage. Because I could drop her to 85% crit and still she would work for this boss, because I had it at 100%. My gear was built exactly like that since I moved it from my best damage dealer, which is Rhodos. And my stats overall were the highest I could get them, since we're using epics, right? And we're trying to get the fastest team possible. So here's the Luria that I used, guys. 7,200 attack. 500 of that is from the blessing. 300% crit damage, which is a lot again from the blessing. 25% there. Very strong bonus. And then tried with refresh accessories and her speed to be kind of lower than Durandal, because we don't want her to be freezing first before the other attacks come in. So very strong A2, and you saw how much damage it does. Her single target also does a lot of damage. Her A2 only has, I believe, a 3.6 multiplier or something like that, but with Helm Smasher and damage coming in from the 6-star awakening, which is crushing rend, which you ignore with every hit a percentage of the target's defense based on every 10 levels. So when you're fighting an enemy with 350 levels, you're basically ignoring an additional 35% defense, which is insane to have this. If I didn't have her, I think the run would still be a little bit slower, but for sure under 2 minutes. For sure under 2 minutes, because of how strong my Dark Kill was. And next up we have Durandal, pretty much the same way that I built him with Savage. Tried with a lot of damage with 7,000 attack there. Blessing not so strong, but still strong enough to give us 400 attack. 268 crit damage with 211 speed. Not the best, but still pretty strong. Fully maxed out because this skill does so much damage. And Cruelty this time around, and of course Helm Smasher for this guy again. So a lot of damage coming in from these two champions. And then basically Spider was built here for just going and hopefully refreshing the defense down that this champion has. So this defense down was kind of crucial to have it refresh if I wanted to do a very fast run. And in the 3 rounds that I've done to get my best time, that's what we had to do. We had to do 3 rounds, and the best time would be the one we would win with, or potentially win with. So this was live, so I couldn't record the runs or anything. So in actually 2 of my runs, my defense down got resisted. So I had like a 3% chance. When you have 274 accuracy, there's a very low chance you still get resisted, but I got resisted in 2 of the rounds, which was insane. And I didn't get that perfect run that I could do. And also limiting it to 60 frames per second makes the run slower. So these were the stats that I had on a Spider with 270. speed. I even have the War Master for a little bit of damage potential coming in. And then finally I had Dark Hell with these masteries, basically Oppressor for extra turn meter. And I even had a 3-star blessing with Survival Instinct, giving me a little bit of turn meter when I receive debuffs. And then Regen, Perception. I could have done Regen, Retaliation, but I just don't have those pieces of gear. And basically, Dark Hell is there to survive with 65,000 health, 2.6 defense, 284 speed. So a lot of turns getting through and refreshing your health because of the Regen set. Didn't go with Crit Rate because I wasn't using his A2, which can extend debuffs, but this slows down the run. So if you want a more consistent run, you can actually use this one. But for a faster run, which was the point of the competition, I went with the A2. And then finally we had Spirit Host, which it was just there. She was just there for the increased attack. Let me find her. I actually had a level 50 Spirit Host, but I went and farmed another Spirit Host just so I can use a level 30 to drop down my power, so I wouldn't be over the 300,000 mark. So 229 speed just to be faster than my damage dealers, basically. So she boosts for my damage dealers. And that was the team, guys. During the stream, also Saf mentioned Gwyneth, which I don't think I ever used. If I'm being honest here, I don't think I've ever used Gwyneth, but I think for her A2 here, she supposedly does a lot of damage, also placing a weaken on the target. And oh yeah, with the A3 does this one. Will ignore 10% of the target's defense for each debuff they're under. So together with Dark Hell, yeah, she would be dropping a ton of damage. So what I want to try here is maybe instead of Durandal, I can use Gwyneth here and we'll do another run. So I'll move on the gear from Durandal right now. I'll keep Luria in there, but I want to see what Gwyneth would bring to the table with that big, strong single target attack. So give me just a second, guys, and I'll move the gear. So we just moved all the gear to Gwyneth. 6.6k attack this time. We don't have a blessing. We're losing a little bit of potential right there, but we still have Helm Smasher and Savage that's going to help us with the A2 and the A1. This one will be ignoring defense, but I'm assuming I will never have 10 debuffs on the targets, the majority of targets for the fight. So what I'll do here is I'll actually go back into the dragon. I'll remove Durandal from this one. So this is the initial custom AI I had, basically locking out Dark Hell and using Dark Hell's A3 and his A1 on the boss. Basically Luria, hopefully using her A2 to kill down the waves. So I'll be removing Durandal from here. Let's place Gwyneth and have a look. I wonder if I did use, well, I couldn't use both Durandal and Gwyneth because I would be going over the limit. Just my Luria is 100,000 power. Could have used that one. By the way, Spider is in the lead because he does have an aura for boosting speed in all dungeons by 25%. So that's about 25 speed extra to all my allies. So let's go in there and see how this goes. I'm not going to change anything in terms of the AI. I'll leave it go there. Yeah, the bad affinity here is not proving the best, but we'll see on how that does. The A1 doesn't do that much, but it's still quite fast. Look at that, 113,000, pretty strong there. And we're slowly refreshing through. So now I'll have probably the defense now. Look at that. Okay, Luria is still coming in big with the AoE. 141,000, pretty strong there with the, I think that was the A2, which applies a weaken first. The AoE is the A1. Okay, 45 seconds. So not that slower than before, even with the weak hits. So let's see. So let's see here. Defense down, the poisons. Look at that, 255k. Pretty strong there. That was probably the A3. The A2 is apathy, which applies the weekend, and then we die from the boss. And this is still a pretty solid run, but I think the affinity basically makes it so difficult for me to have been using magic champions here, which is why I tried to avoid those and used spirit and force bat. Gwyneth did do a solid like 1.2 million damage there with single targets plus all the weak hits. You have to consider that. Additional awakenings would have also been really powerful. So that was it for the video, guys, on the epic only team for the dragon. The next challenge will be arena. So if you guys have any thoughts on what kind of an arena team I can use with only epics, rares, or even possibly uncommons and commons, let me know down below in the comments. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to see the other two teams Saf and Senda made, definitely check out that with Jedi's channel. Knights Revenant, okay, the Knights Revenant is what Saf used. That was a pretty solid team. And Lizardman also was used by Senda, which was, it is an underwhelming faction in terms of epics. Not as many epics available to play around with, so very limited arsenal of champions, which is kind of sad to consider when you're comparing factions together. So there's definitely, as I said at the start of the video, like powerhouses for specific dungeons and areas, and then they're weaker in other situations. But of course, since we couldn't use legendaries, there's a lot of firepower the Lizardmen actually have from legendaries. But this is an epics only kind of tournament, which is still fun but very interesting as well. So this was the video, guys, for today. Thank you all for watching. Definitely check out my previous videos if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.